the Super Speedway.
Welcome to episode 340 of the Super Speedway podcast, recorded Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. I'm your host, Eric Young, and I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, James Cush. James, how's it going this week?
Oh, man. I don't know where to start the podcast this week, Eric.
Well, thank goodness we don't have to spend a bunch of time talking about NASCAR officiating this week. Thank God, right?
No off-the-track stuff that we have to deal with?
Right? Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Good
Man.
stuff. Good stuff.
Dude, I'm telling you.
We could start with the Lions.
Yeah, they're doing all right.
God, did Dallas start a high school team by accident this week or what?
There's nothing better. Oh, and it was Jerry Jones's birthday. Man. Now,
I had a former coworker, go there.
Really?
From Michigan. He lives he works in Midland. He
Dallas
went
fan?
to Dallas. Yeah, oh yeah, big Dallas fan. Went to Dallas to go watch the Lions whoop them.
Oh, wow. That is so great.
Yeah.
That is so good. So the company I work for, I won't name names.
Right.
Our CEO is a massive Dallas fan and has a Dallas helmet in his office.
Uh-huh.
And I looked at him today. We locked eyes for maybe 2 or 3 seconds, and he just put his head down. I was like, "That's right, I'm in charge.
That's funny.
I'm in charge now."
I didn't watch it. I just kept getting the scoring updates, and what a freaking beatdown. I mean,
Yeah, I'm a little. The Hutch stuff makes me sad, but it'll be okay. It'll be okay.
Yeah,
He'll
they're
be
looking
all
like
right.
they're the real deal this year. I mean, I know Dallas isn't any good, but still, I mean,
We say that, and they got the tough Vikings team. The NFC North, even your crappy Bears team is good. So,
right?
although they're beating up on some young pups. So we'll see. We'll see where we all end up. This Vikings team's pretty good. This is a good conference. If the Lions win the North this year, I'll be pleasantly pleased.
This is how much I've been following the Bears lately. I woke up on Sunday morning and looked over at my phone and saw scoring updates. Like, interesting. They must be over in London.
Yeah,
I had no idea, but I knew it wasn't it wasn't noon yet.
Yeah. Every team. I think they're the first team or the first division to have all these teams with 4 wins at this point. So, yeah, our Lions, man, they're. I tell you what, it's not often, even when they were good last year, but it's not often when they're beating somebody down like that, and they just keep beating them down to the point where they're just using trick plays every which way.
Yeah, that was maybe might want to save a few of those. I mean, not like Campbell doesn't have a long list of them, but
It's just Dallas. Just keep beating them down.
I'll tell you.
Just keep beating them down.
What was the bigger beat down on Sunday? Was it the Lions over the Cowboys, or was it Kyle Larson on everybody?
I think it was the Lions, but Larson did his best.
Larson led 62 laps of 109, so not quite Bristol level.
Well, he didn't win any of the stages. So
That's true.
I guess he
5th and 9th.
Yep, I guess he doesn't get any credit for that. So,
But yeah, quite a run by old Kyle Larson. Kind of stuck up the show a little bit. Thank God we had that points battle that ended up not mattering.
yeah. Yeah, I didn't know where we were. That's what I said. I don't know what's the bigger story because Larson kicked everybody's butt, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I guess we should talk about the race, and then we'll talk about what happened afterwards. But,
Yeah. So let's start here. I mean, we mentioned Larson won. A lot of drivers were throwing a fit leading up to this race about how NASCAR created chaos here and have basically set this track up to be a dive bomb city and a crash fest. And we didn't get that. I mean, we got aggressive moves. I do think that that turn 7 needs to be renamed the Carson Hocevar Memorial Turn 7.
yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it was honestly, we had more trouble in the new chicane on the front stretch, especially counting the Xfinity race, than we did and Bowman potentially, than turn 7. What did you think of the changes to the Roval, James?
I thought it raced really. I actually didn't mind any of the changes. I thought it raced pretty well. I thought turn 7, it had its moments where I was like, ooh, they're wadding them up a little bit, but it wasn't. Nobody really got sent other than late late in the race, Daniel Hemrick has a bone to pick with Tyler Reddick. We'll talk about Reddick in a little bit, but
right.
That was, I mean, nobody really got sent all day. I mean, there was a lot of stacking up from time to time, but for the most part, the drivers drove it clean. The chicane on the front stretch was clean. For the most part, I think Bubba Wallace was the only one who really had a problem there all weekend for the Cup Series. But yeah, professional drive. That's what they said on the teardown. I'll kind of steal that from Jeff and Jordan. Yeah. That was a professional race car race. Those guys did a good job.
Yeah, I was wondering in the first stage, because the first stage was a little rowdy. They were a little aggressive in the first. I thought it was cool to see the Xfinity drivers kind of all day on Saturday kind of gave each other room in that corner for the most part. They were very, very respectful. And then Kyle Larson made that move early in the race on Sunday. And I forget who it was. He ran out to the wall, but he just took the turn. And it's like, here we go. Now the big boys are playing. But again, I mean, there was opportunity to use people up, but for the most part, everybody, instead of using people up, they just were outmaneuvering them. And you could, if you drove that low line, somebody might be able to squeeze in behind you. I thought it was more interesting to see the people trying to block the move that was coming from behind than people from behind making bad moves other than Reddick.
I enjoyed I kind of, I thought of it as like the go-kart maneuver, the crossover, where somebody would drive in a little bit too hot, and if you just took your time, you just cross them right back over. And I saw a ton of that, which I thought was really cool. There's not really a turn like that on the circuit where it comes to I guess it's almost like that turn comes to like a pinhead, right? Like a very fine point, and then they have to make it, and it allows for that switchback, which I thought was really cool.
The closest thing is Coda, but this is like a small version of Coda, and I think it's better.
Yeah.
So
because they're not carrying quite as much speed. Coda's a good example, because that is because they're going uphill into a blind. That is actually a good comp. But yeah, this one not as much speed because they're kind of carrying through turn 6. Although Tyler Reddick was pretty fast through there a couple times. Eric, one thing, speaking of our race winner, I wanted to ask you this, because I was thinking about this watching this race. Stage 1, SVG gets out in front, is just hammer down. And he's carrying a couple of second lead over Larson for the most part. But Larson just never went away. He was kind of like there all day, and then pit strategy happened. And as soon as Larson got the lead, it was pretty much over. I mean, he was in a different playing field than everybody. And it got me thinking about those guys duking it out in Chicago.
Yeah.
And I almost wonder, and I want to see if you agree with me here, I almost wonder if Larson took a few lessons or got motivated by what SVG could do when you're turning left and right, and kind of took it to him a little bit on Sunday. It's hard to compare, because Larson, he's Hendrick Motorsports, and
you want to know what I think?
Yeah,
I think Larson's just damn good.
He is just damn good.
He's just a really good race car driver, and you would hope in this situation on a track that he's familiar with that he would be able to outduel Shane Van Gisbergen. No matter how good of a driver Shane Van Gisbergen is, Larson is more familiar with the track. He's more familiar with the car. He should be able to outduel him. He also has better equipment. Although, in the Cup Series, there's less of a gap. He's still got better equipment. He's got better equipment than Shane has. So, I mean, I just think he's good. And did he learn some stuff from Shane? Oh, I'm sure he did. These guys are learning stuff every lap. But Shane probably learned some stuff from Kyle too, and probably learned how Kyle's going to race him and all that. But I mean, so I finally got bit by the Shane Van Gisbergen bug, and bit this week and decided to choose him as my winner, because I'm like, I've been saying all along that Shane Van Gisbergen's a great driver, but he's not good enough to just come in and win in the Cup Series on a track that everybody's familiar with. And I freaking went away from that this week. I got proven right before and wrong this week. So,
well, I will say though, thinking about the early stages of this race and watching SVG, I mean, he really does have something special. Like
I can't wait to watch him in the Cup Series next year. I know I was poo-pooing a little bit at the beginning of the season. I can't wait to watch him. I can't wait to watch him learn. I think he's gonna be really fun to watch.
Yeah, he's gonna be good next year, and he'll be in a little bit better equipment with the Trackhouse guys too. So
yeah.
But yeah, I just
more
thought,
of a regular program too, so he'll be more comfortable with the team.
Yep.
Easier to come in and make a run. I think he'll be a bigger threat, certainly at the street course, of course, but he'll be a bigger threat at all the road courses. And
he almost won Watkins Glen, you know, and he was, top 10 here this weekend. And I just thought it was, I don't know, I just watching those two, and I'm like, hey, Larson's closed the gap on this guy a little bit. And it's just a kind of a fun wrinkle in a race that didn't have a whole heck of a lot of I mean, it had its drama. I mean, it's a cutoff race,
right?
But watching the battle for the win, there wasn't a whole lot going on up there. Once Larson was, once Larson was there, he was gone. So
yeah,
but just a fun little wrinkle. I wanted to talk to you about that one.
Yeah. The funniest thing to me right now is I sit here and listen to these podcasts every week, and every week they talk, and we talk here. Everybody talks about who the favorites are for the championship. And the names that keep getting thrown out are great names, great choices. Christopher Bell, great choice. William Byron's a good choice. Obviously, now that Joey Logano squeaked through, he's a good choice. People are calling on Denny Hamlin, Ryan Blaney. So few people are saying Kyle Larson's name. He's won 6 races this season. He's won double what anybody else has.
I know.
Like, how is he? He almost won the regular season championship and missed a freaking race.
Yeah.
Like, how is he not the absolute favorite?
Yeah, he's no doubt. He's going to Phoenix,
and I'm part of it too. I do the same thing. I pick other people. It's like, and I think it's because he either wins or busts his ass. But when he wins, he freaking wins like this.
Let me say it this way too. Looking at the schedule, he could win theoretically 3 of the next 4. You've got Vegas,
he could
Homestead.
win 4 of the next 4. Would you be surprised?
Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville, and then Phoenix. He can win. He can pretty much win anywhere. But when we go to Vegas and Homestead, he's going to be the favorite. So, he's doing it again, man.
Yep.
He's just
problem is he's got to stay out of trouble.
Yep.
And that's been the problem all season. But
now he's and looking at the points just really quickly. I mean, he's got a cushion now. He's plus 33 to the cut line. So, a good day at Las Vegas and a decent day at Homestead, and he's really got nothing to worry about.
Yeah,
so.
He's in pretty good shape. I mean,
he
pretty much has to have 2 bad races to not make it to the Final 4.
Yeah, exactly. And then he'd probably win the next one.
Right. I mean, he's the only one that's got to feel comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Christopher Bell's probably going to do all right. I mean, I don't know.
Reddick will be fine.
Honestly, okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Alex Bowman locks himself into the round of 8, and then is disqualified because his car doesn't meet the minimum weight. I actually was preparing to propose to you that we push the podcast to Wednesday to wait for the appeal, and they decided not to appeal. So, before we discuss the penalty and all that, this is, I think, having Bowman bumped out. I mean, no offense to Bowman. Joey Logano coming in makes this tougher for the other side.
That's what I was going to say. That's exactly the thoughts I had. And I was thinking, I was like, oh, the playoff, the top 8 just got a little bit stronger. And I saw people online saying, oh, Bowman's, better than Logano. I'm like, is he?
Bowman is a 2-time champion. Or not Bowman. I mean, Logano's a 2-time champion. Yeah. Bowman's not a 2-time champion.
I'm like, Bowman kind of got 1 win this year. And I mean, he had a great playoff run.
Yes. And it sucks that it was cut short the way it was.
Well, and going out like that really does. I mean, that blows. I hate it for those guys. I hate it for the team. I hate it for the driver who actually had put a good drive together.
The team has to have figured out where they screwed up, right?
Yeah, I don't know why. That's the thing that's weird to me. Like, Hendrick not appealing was
the only thing I can think of is that if they appeal it, something more will come out. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it'll come out what was, because if they really lost it hitting that turtle on the front stretch, there's no way they wouldn't be appealing the heck out of it.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. And that was all the conspiracy theorists on on Twitter and whatnot, Reddit, like, oh, he definitely something fell off the car. I'm like, well, if a 17-pound piece fell off the car,
right,
that's probably a penalty too.
Yeah.
Because it's probably a ballast or something. You
I
know
mean,
what I
yeah,
mean?
lead's heavy,
Yeah.
but I think you'd still notice a 17-pound piece.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
And NASCAR gave him an opportunity to get the car right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is the. And I was trying to think, Eric, we haven't had a penalty. We've had penalties before, like this year, for example. Denny Hamlin had a whole bunch more points, right?
Right.
And Toyota and Joe Gibbs, or well, no, it was TRD.
Yeah.
Self penalized.
Yep.
Which I thought that was kind of shocking. They hurt their driver in the playoffs.
Right.
Now Hendrick Motorsports goes and is basically eliminated. Well, I mean, they knew something. They eliminated themselves from
Right.
the playoffs. They took themselves right out of it. So
Yeah.
we went from having 400 cars out of 8 to now we're down to 3.
Yep.
And I mean, man, oh man, that's I just don't I cannot recall a team, especially in this situation. Obviously, we haven't had a team DQ their way out of the playoffs like
Right.
this, but to not even appeal it just to try. But I guess if you can't win, what are you supposed to do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Obviously, they thought that there was no chance of it being overturned, whatever that means.
Did I tell you my conspiracy?
No.
Did I text you this?
No.
I said, well, NASCAR did give Larson that waiver. Maybe this was the deal all
Yeah, right.
along.
You did. You actually, now you mentioned it, you did say that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
It's
Yeah.
like maybe NASCAR was gonna say, "Hey, listen, we're gonna come back. This is gonna come back to bite you." I don't believe this to be
Right.
real. I'm just being, I'm just joking. It's not. I don't think the sanctioning body's that evil.
That's funny.
Oh man.
I mentioned the battle with Tyler Reddick. Quite a day for him. Turned out to not matter in the end.
But still,
yeah,
of just the effort.
Yes.
Regardless of it mattering or not, in the moment he was driving that car, that team, it mattered. That was
he
a
finished
championship
11th with a car that was 4 feet in the air.
Yeah. Broke in, what was it? A bent toe link, right?
Yep. Bent right rear toe link.
Yep. So they fixed the car up as best they could. He had won stage 1 and and I had him on my fantasy team and he did that. I'm like, God dang it, Tyler, you're screwing up my, and then he powers back all the way to 11th.
Yeah.
And tracks down Joey Logano at the time, right? And there was nothing Joey could do. He was helpless. Great pit strategy. The team got him out on fresh tires and man, what a drive that was.
Yeah.
And if he wins the championship, I know it doesn't matter at the end of the day because of the Bowman penalty, but if they win the championship, you look back on this effort and you say that was the day.
Yeah.
That was the day that mattered the most because obviously they won the regular season title, got those bonus points. Those came into play. Like every little step they've taken this season that's kind of come down to making a huge difference.
Right.
Actually made a huge difference in the moment.
Yeah.
So that was an impressive.
The other thing, James, is it shows that they can rally.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to rally to win a championship. At some point there's going to be an issue.
Tyler Reddick has impressed me many times over his and a very young career still.
Yeah.
Very early in his career. There's been a lot of times watching him drive. I've been impressed. I don't know if he's been better. I mean, that was.
And I don't think he gets the credit he deserves either.
No, I don't think he does. I mean, I have him on a very short list of guys, like if I'm starting a team of 4, he's one of those. He's a 4. He's one of the 4.
Yeah.
I mean, no doubt about it. That guy, maybe that top 4 is our top 4 in points. It's probably close to that.
Right.
But I mean, man, he's, that was a special drive from him. And we've seen guys do similar things before. Christopher Bell's done stuff like this before.
Yeah.
Brad Keselowski years ago had done some things like this before when it really mattered. Just rising to the occasion, which I, kind of, I guess echoing his car owner,
right,
Michael Jordan a little bit, showing up when it matters most in the big moments.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, it made the race a lot more interesting than it would have been. Again, knowing now what we know, it didn't matter, but it sure did at the time. Made the race a lot of fun to watch. We had some modifications to the track Sunday morning before the Cup race. Removed some turtles from the front stretch chicane. Drivers were getting beaten up pretty bad in the Xfinity race. I guess they were getting beat up in practice and qualifying as well. So NASCAR made the decision to make the start of the chicane a little bit less violent. We also then imposed track limits as a result, which bit a couple drivers, but nobody in the playoffs. You could argue William Byron should have been. I know there's arguments of that.
Man, that was close. That was close.
I didn't see the picture, but I think NASCAR in that situation too is probably erring on one side for the non-playoff guys and on the other side for the playoff guys.
So people were saying that Byron and Bubba did the exact same thing, and they were not the exact same line, but I'd say Byron was a hair to the. If it was the width of a hair, he was probably a hair to the good versus a hair to the bad.
Right.
Only because looking at the screen grab, he still has a tire on the red. I guess what we call it, the red and white rumble strips, not the blue.
Right.
Where Bubba really cut through just on the blue. But it was NASCAR could have made the call. Not that it mattered to William Byron. He was,
right.
He's already locked in. So at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter to him, but could have mattered to somebody else down the line. So that was a ball and strike call right there. Bubba was a little bit too outside, and Byron was right on the ragged edge.
What do you think of the change? Do you think that was a necessary change?
Oh yeah, I think so. After watching the Xfinity series, and then the Cup guys, obviously, the Cup guys were really bothered by it. Truex and Kyle, just a couple of the guys that were Kyle Busch, I should say, were definitely bothered by how hard those turtles were hitting. I think it was hurting them more than it was the Xfinity series drivers, just because of the way the car is.
You know how you solve that problem?
Don't run them over.
Yeah,
I was going to say
don't hit the turtles.
That's what I said.
I mean, that's the point of putting them in, right? Is so you don't hit them.
I knew you were going to say that, because that's the first thing I thought of when Truex was complaining about it. I was like, well, just don't hit him.
Right.
What's the problem?
I know.
And then I thought Eric would say that.
I listened to Dale Jr.'s podcast, or at least the start of it today on the way home, and listened to him complain for 10 minutes about not that track limits should be something that causes a detriment to missing the corner versus a ball and strike call. He went on for 10 minutes about it and then said, but I don't know what else you could do there. You can't put a wall there. You can't put, it's like, well, make up your damn mind, Junior. What do you want? Do you want there to be a penalty for it, or does NASCAR have to impose a penalty? I don't know, man. I get that there's no suspension on these cars and it hurts like hell when you hit them. But at the same time, I sometimes really feel like we dumb the tracks down to protect the drivers from over driving instead of telling them to drive better.
Well,
but I'm not in the car, so I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't think anything was. I don't think the racing was hurt by.
No, I don't think it changed anything.
I mean, Bowman got airborne
right
at one point, Evel Knievel style.
Yeah.
The other one that stuck out to me was Suarez on the backstretch.
Yep.
He hit the turtles on the. I think those were still the elevated turtles. He went a little bit sky high and then self-imposed a penalty. I think Letarte called it out on the coverage and said, I wouldn't have self-penalized there. I would have made NASCAR make that call, which I totally agree with. He was fighting for his life too. And, he was still in the hunt at that point.
I think we leave the turtles off and just put spikes in. And if you cut the corner, cut the corner, you've got a flat tire. Now you can't drive back to the pits. You're done for the day.
Boy, that would be chaotic. You talk about chaos. That would be chaos. Oh man, how many flat tires per lap?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, again, like you said, it didn't really change the racing. I hate ball and strike penalties. I hate track limit penalties. I also hate how we don't have track limits and we drive way off the track and look like fools and don't even use the actual racing service at some tracks. So I don't know. I don't know what the solution is.
If you don't want people driving there, put a wall up.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the way I always have thought about, like Watkins Glen. I just don't want people. They ground the track and did all that meaningless rumbling strip, whatever the heck they did. And the drivers were just like, just drive right over it. Who cares?
Yep.
You don't want them there, put a wall in the way. That's the only way you're going to stop them.
Solves the issue.
Unless you're Darlington, they're going to ride it anyway.
Right. Exactly. What else with this one? I mean, Austin Cindric had a great day. Not good enough to advance.
Yeah, that was a strong run though.
Yeah, definitely fourth place finish for him. AJ Allmendinger, Shane Van Gisbergen in 6th and 7th.
Yeah, they were really good.
My guy, the one I told you was a dark horse, Bubba Wallace, 9th place finish, top 10.
Yeah, split the penalty. Yeah.
Yep. So
yep. And Joey Logano was somebody I mentioned last week, and he was never like a threat to win, but man, he was. I mean, I don't know what it is about him there. He's good.
Yeah.
He's just steady at the Roval.
Yeah.
And it was good enough, apparently. We learned, 4 hours later, it was good enough.
Right.
So whatever he did was good enough.
Carson Hocevar bulldozed himself to a 12th place finish.
Oh, my God, yeah. Yeah. The other really fun battle that may not get too much attention, but the Kaz Grala, Eric Jones.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Kerfuffle. And then I don't know why Kaz passed him, because he just gave Eric a free shot out of the final chicane. And then Kaz,
Eric shipped him too.
Yeah, and then Kaz, I saw Kaz tweeted, he's like, looks like the 43 did all the bad driving there. So it was something along those lines. He's like, I only see one person doing something wrong. I'm like, well, yeah.
So Jeff Gluck had a poll this week, and he asked his followers.
Oh, I answered this poll.
To vote whether they would prefer to be on the Roval or on the oval for this race. I'm pretty certain I can guess which way you voted, James.
Yep.
You want to be on the oval, right?
I do.
Okay. I disagree, man. I just disagree. I don't understand why. I get the 1.5-mile tracks are better than road courses in the Cup Series right now. 100%. Totally agree with it. But we race on the 1.5 at Charlotte already. I don't. People talk about the Frankenstein of this track and how it's not a real racetrack. Do you know how prestigious the 24 Hours of Daytona is? It's the same thing. They've raced there for years. All of these ovals have had road courses built into them. You know, in major series race them all the time, just not NASCAR. Yeah. I think it's an excellent thing to allow them to race at this track twice a year without racing the same surface twice. And I think it's a good addition to the playoffs. I think having that road course there, especially next year when we're going to move Watkins Glen back out, you get your road course opportunity in the playoffs where it should be. And I don't know. I mean, now I say that, but I want to go to a race at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And I'm not going to choose the Roval if I go to Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm going to choose the one in the oval.
Not right now.
So I get it. I understand. But I think in order to have two races at a racetrack, except for a select few, this is what should be done to allow that.
Well, and to help nail your point home, Eric, what always happens with the Cup cars when you take dates away from tracks? What happens? That one race that they get right on the oval, always improves.
Yeah,
it always gets better.
Yep.
Way back to Auto Club, even Texas.
Yep.
The 1.5-mile, 2-mile tracks always improve when you start taking racing away.
Yep.
And now we've lost the All-Star race.
Yeah.
and we've put another race on the Roval. The 600's been vastly improved.
Yeah.
But I still feel like racing on the oval, especially with this car right now, is just a missed opportunity just because it's such good racing.
Did you hear Dale Jr.'s solution today?
What did he say?
You're going to love it.
Uh-oh. Third race?
No, swap them.
No, Dale, no.
Run the 600 in the playoffs. Run the Roval in the spring.
Jesus.
And then he was pointed out that you can't do the double and, Memorial Day weekend and all that stuff. And he immediately said that was a bad idea. But originally his idea was,
no.
Can you imagine, though, a 600-mile race in the playoffs? That's kind of interesting.
Well, we have the Southern 500 though.
He pointed out that we moved Daytona off of 4th of July and everybody threw a fit, but Daytona's way better where it is.
It is better where it is, but that's not the Daytona 500. You need to put the Daytona 500 there. That's a different story. That's a different. No.
I mean, we all know why the Coca-Cola 600 is the Coca-Cola 600 on the day that it is, right?
Yes, exactly.
It's there to be 100 miles more than the Indianapolis 500.
That's right. That's right.
So
can't mess with too much tradition.
No. He like I said, he admitted it was a bad idea.
I'm glad he said it though. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, it was interesting. It was a good take, but not really a good take. So
hey man, you got to have hot takes once in a while.
Yeah, I like I said, I think the Roval's great. I remember when they announced it, how excited I was for it. I think it's awesome, and yes, I agree. We should have more 1.5 mile tracks, but we've got 2 that are sitting vacant right now that we don't race on that we could go back to. One in Kentucky, one in Chicago. So let's do that rather than add another race or get rid of this road
Chicago
course
street race and go back to Chicago.
There you go. 100%. I'm down. I'm down.
All right, good.
Move the street race somewhere else. Run a street race somewhere else.
Yeah, street race might be. Heard some rumblings, right? We've seen some rumblings on possible solutions for the street race.
Yeah,
we'll see.
Anything else with the Cup race, James?
No, good elimination race. Roval's still not a bad show.
To be fair, I think you move the Roval anywhere but an elimination race, it loses the excitement it has.
Yeah, it's not a. The reason we have so many road courses now is because road courses at one time raced like short tracks.
Right.
That's the dirty little secret. But now it's good. Roval is solid, man. It's just solid. It's a good racetrack. It's coming to its own. It's been here long enough now. It's established. I have no problem.
Well, and I like the fact that Marcus Smith is like, okay, we've done it the same for a couple of years. Let's change something.
Yeah, make it harder on the drivers. And the drivers were, for lack of a better term, I won't say it, they were ticked off.
Yeah.
And good.
Yeah, exactly.
Tick them off once in a while.
And look, if you look at the overhead of that place, there's more opportunities to change things. There's a lot of road course they don't use in that infield. So there's opportunities. I would love to see what it would be like. You couldn't do it because it would be way too dangerous. But I would love to see them take the chicane out in the front stretch.
Yep.
And just balls to the walls out of that backstretch chicane all the way into turn 1.
They would. Remember the first couple of years?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You know how awesome that would be? There would be some wrecks there.
Remember, but remember, we were doing restarts not in the chicane.
I miss that.
Yeah.
I think it's funny that we've gone to all the road courses and tried to make the restart zone easier, except for here. I think it's harder here than it used to be. So
yeah, man.
I don't know.
Yeah.
29th victory in 362 Cup Series races for Kyle Larson. 6th victory of the season, 16th top 10 finish in 2024. Second victory and second top 10 finish in 6 races at the Charlotte Motor Speedway road course. Carson Hocevar, 12th place, highest finishing rookie. And William Byron leads the point standings, but not really.
Yeah, Larson leads the point standings.
Yeah, he did until immediately after the race. So
yes,
there you go.
What a shot! By the way, quick shout out to William Byron. What a round that was!
Yeah, he's right there, man. Like
without winning a race, that was a beatdown. Like as much of a beatdown as you can have without actually winning, that was a beatdown.
Let me ask this question: if any driver in the top 8 right now, if any driver in the round of 8 won the championship, would you be surprised?
No, I'm glad we're talking about this. I wanted to ask you about this. This top 8 is legit. Like, this is the best of the best.
It's the best top 8 we've ever had.
Well, and it's a full season's top 8.
Yes.
It's not just the playoffs. Like, these are the best in the business right
top
now.
7. Top 7. Bowman should be the 8th. Because points wise, he should be the 8th. But
I know
Joey Logano's a 2-time champion.
Joey's had a better.
Bowman's had a good year, James.
Yeah, he's had a better. Yes, but Bowman's had a better playoff than a full season. Yeah. I guess.
I don't know,
but it's a toss up.
But I agree with you. I think best lineup you could have.
Championship is definitely more fun with Joey in it, though.
I couldn't.
A little bit of a wild card.
I couldn't go through the list of drivers who are out and pick anybody else that would be better than any of these 8.
There's nobody. There's nobody. There's nobody else.
Not currently. I mean, certainly past whatever, but not currently.
No, these guys are all winning races and have been at the top of the sport almost all season long.
When Denny Hamlin looks like the weakest of the bunch, that tells you how good this group is.
How? And I thought that's the thing with Denny Hamlin too. I'm like, how is he still alive? Like he has just
and now he is set up, man. He is golden the next 3.
Possibly, if he can just win one of these races, I think he's in really good shape.
Yeah.
Maybe, Eric. I don't want to say yes or no. Maybe.
There is absolutely nobody in this group that would surprise me. Not even a teeny bit.
Nope.
Even Joey Logano squeaking in the 11th hour. No, it would not surprise me.
Well,
I was actually really happy. No offense to Joey, but I was really happy that we weren't going to get a 3-time champion this season. But now we could still.
Yeah. Well, we've got we've got how many? We've got 1, 2, 3. We got 4 champions and 4 non-champions. So we could get a first timer, or we could get somebody adding to their resume, right?
Yeah.
I don't think Chase Elliott's going to win the championship. I don't think Denny Hamlin's going to win the championship.
I'm done counting him out.
I'm going to count him out until he gets it done.
Yeah. The problem is every year we say we're not going to count him out, and we do. I'm not counting him out, man, because one of these years he's going to do it.
Well,
he's running out of chances.
I know he's running out of chances.
This is the year. This is setting up to be Denny's year. The season they had, and then the hell they've gone through in the playoffs, barely scraping by, the lawsuit. This is the year, man.
You think it is? More so than Larson?
If you're writing the script, this is the year for Denny Hamlin.
Yeah.
Or logically, Kyle Larson should be the champion.
Or you could write the script as the bookends. That is William Byron won the Daytona 500.
Right.
Had a decent year, not the best year, but came on strong at the end. That's a storybook. Christopher Bell.
Yeah, Christopher Bell's been knocking
on the door
in the round of 4. How many times?
Didn't even get a chance to race for it last year before he wrecked out.
Yeah.
So he gets a shot at it, and then you got Tyler Reddick. He's a story. I mean, it's all good stuff.
Michael Jordan getting the trophy handed to him by the guy he's suing.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Chase Elliott rallying back after a really tough year last year. Maybe maybe there's a little magic there.
Joey Logano, seat of his pants getting in. Ryan Blaney with the repeat. Yeah, every story is a good one.
There's all good storylines here.
Every single one of them.
Yep, absolutely.
Good stuff. Good stuff. There you go. NASCAR Xfinity Series was in action on Saturday. Sam Mayer gets the walk-off win. We've said the last couple of weeks that we're not going to spend as much time on the Xfinity Series and the Truck Series, and then NASCAR goes and does stuff to try and change that and make us talk about them. So let's talk about the story of the Xfinity race, James.
Oh my God.
The caution.
Oh my God.
So here's where I was at. So I watched the race delayed. You texted me earlier in the day and asked if I'd watched the race, and I said no, and you said, okay, well, I'll DM you the tweet. And I'm like, okay, so something happened. And so I'm waiting. And so I refreshed Facebook at some point during the race, and I followed Jeff Gluck's Facebook group, and I just caught a glimpse of somebody posted, "It's rigged." And so I'm like, what in the world happened? I'm thinking, okay, Shane Van Gisbergen is running up there with AJ Allmendinger. AJ's locked in.
It's rigged.
Shane's not. AJ's leading. Is AJ going to back off and let Shane pass him for the win? Did lock himself in too? And so all these scenarios are running through my head. What could it possibly be? What could it possibly be? And we get all the way to the second to last lap. I see the car and the tires. And then I'm like waiting for the caution. And I see Parker cross the line, and the caution doesn't come out. And then the caution comes out right after. And I'm like, that's what it is. They held the caution and gave Parker Kligerman the win. Oh no, that's not what happened at all. Oh,
quite the opposite.
Yeah. So I want to know. So I intentionally have not talked to you about this at all this week.
Yeah,
we did not talk to you because I wanted to have this discussion on the podcast.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Obviously, something isn't right here. So what do you think was wrong? What do you disagree with on this situation?
I just think you can't. This goes back to my whole thing about what are cautions.
Right.
Are they entertainment or safety?
Right.
And you've got a car in the barrier, the 42 of what was it, Honeyman, right?
Yes.
Leland Honeyman.
Yep.
He's stuffed in the barrier, and I understand. Yeah, I mean, I understand he's in the barrier.
You couldn't get in the barrier better than he was.
I just don't I don't buy. Here's what I don't like. I don't buy NASCAR saying afterwards, we didn't see him from the tower. Like, you've got cameras. You point out debris all the time on the track.
Well, so Brad Moran said that the race director that was running the race watches out the window, not the television screens.
Yes.
And it was brought up that the big screen on the backstretch showed the car in the barrier well before the caution was thrown.
Yes.
And the argument from NASCAR is, and it makes sense, James, the argument from NASCAR is they have to ignore those screens because if they don't, and NBC shows a replay on those screens, or CW or whoever's doing the race shows a replay on those screens, they see the wreck on the screen in the replay, and they're like, "Oh my God, there's a wreck. We need to throw the caution."
Yes.
So that does make sense. Here's the issue I have. So first of all, let me just be clear. I mean, the caution should have come out, right? I mean,
yeah, that's my whole problem with
Parker didn't get screwed here because the caution should have been out before Parker got to the line.
Parker was going to lose this race regardless.
Parker was going to lose the race if it stayed green, I think. I think Sam Mayer passes him on that last lap. Sam Mayer was way better.
The caution, neither here nor there. The race was never should have stayed green.
No.
The green shouldn't be a factor because the caution should have come out 15 seconds before he even got to the line.
Yes.
And when you call it like that, it looks suspicious. It just looks suspicious. I'm not saying that it is suspicious. It comes off suspicious. That's what I have a problem with.
Before I ever got involved with covering NASCAR, before I ever was a media member at the track, before I ever knew anybody in around NASCAR, back when I was a fan watching on television, just like most people who are listening to this podcast or everybody who's listening to this podcast, I was under the belief, and you'd hear them talk about on the broadcast, NASCAR spotter saw this. NASCAR spotter saw this. I was under the belief that NASCAR had human beings positioned around the racetrack at various places. So every spot on the track could be seen. If there was a piece of debris on that part of the track, NASCAR, that official would see it in that corner, radio the tower, say, "Hey, there's debris, caution." They throw the caution, go get the debris. There was no way something could get on the track or not be seen on the track because there's people everywhere around the track to view that. That is not the case. It 100% is not the case. Should it be the case? Probably. I mean, you're talking safety.
Big time auto racing too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big organization with millions and millions and billions of dollars. I mean, they should probably have people positioned around the track. We learned, I mean, there was talk last week about the damaged vehicle policy, about them making decisions in the tower on whether the cars are damaged. On, a mile away from the tower on the backstretch, they're deciding whether cars are damaged or not to be towed to the pits. Again, one of those situations where you think, well, at least a spotter in the corner could see that better than they can in the tower, but there isn't necessarily one there. There are some, but they're not littered around the course like you had said. Like I had thought. I mean, I've walked around the infield at Michigan during a race from, turn 4 all the way around to turn 3 on the inside between the catch fence and the fans. And other than where the safety vehicles are parked, there are no people down there. It's completely dead. And it's similar on the outside. NASCAR is spotting this from the tower, and then they use camera angles and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a road course, so there's a lot of turns, there's a lot of spaces to cover, but it's also a road course inside of an oval, which you'd think would be easier to cover than with people. I guess my biggest argument is Leland Honeyman crashed into the barrier in that spot, which means a car can get where Leland Honeyman was. Yep. And that means that now instead of a barrier there's a car sitting there with somebody unprotected in the car. What if that car was on fire? We should be able to get a safety vehicle to him. Yep. So the fact that it was 30 seconds, how long was it from the time that he hit the barriers?
It was somewhere. I think Bob said it was around 20 seconds.
Yeah, 20 seconds is too long. It doesn't matter.
Sitting under that barrier with cars still going on the it's too long.
And I don't think this was an entertainment situation because there's no way NASCAR looked at this and went, "Yeah, let's just let them get to the line." There's no way.
Yeah, I just don't know why it took so long.
I think they legit didn't see it. Whatever reason is they didn't see it is they need to fix it.
Yeah, I mean, you can't wait that long.
No.
You just can't. You just can't wait. Especially when somebody's exposed.
Right.
That's the hard part.
The thing is that it made Parker Kligerman think he won a race he didn't win.
Well,
but it could have hurt somebody.
Yeah, but does it I get, and I sympathize with Parker.
Yeah.
And I know the 48 for whatever reason the number 48 is cursed.
Right.
I get it. And Parker, he's not racing next year full time anymore. I mean, this was his shot to get a win. Like, it sucks, man, when you think you win a race.
Yeah.
The hard part is he's not screwed. Like, I know his feelings are hurt, but it's just the timing was so bad.
Yeah.
It's just bad timing in it. Again, it just looks like it lacks. It just looks like it lacks professionalism, which I know that's not the case.
Right.
But you gotta not let that happen. You gotta not let that happen.
The other thing to consider too is, again, when I was growing up watching this sport, I pictured this as a major national sport with the highest professionals in this giant group of people that knows what they're doing and all this stuff. And I'm not putting down NASCAR when I say this, but it isn't run like a massive organization. It is run similarly to what a local short track would be. And that sort of like these people, it's not this giant committee of people that are making decisions. It's one person or whatever. It's when you get into the circle, you realize it's smaller than you thought it was.
Yep.
And it's the same thing with other sports. Supercross is like that. I've been exposed to some of that. And I would assume other sports are like that as well. It's a smaller circle than you realize it is. And I'm not saying I know everything either, because I certainly don't. But I've seen more inside than a lot of fans get to see. So
yeah. It's just gotta. Unfortunately, like, all you can walk away with is like, you made a mistake. You gotta do better next time.
Yeah. The problem is there's been a lot of these, and a lot of people are saying that this is a thing this year. It's not.
Yeah.
How long have we been doing? Let's see. Let me look on the wall. There's 6 album covers up, and this is our 7th season doing the show, James.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that if we went back to season 1, we've got officiating debates.
Oh yeah.
So, and it's been going on long before then.
Yeah, and again, like, that's not a job I want to do.
No.
Like, you don't want to be.
I disagree. It is a job I want to do. I would do it in a heartbeat if they called me.
From this aspect, like, you can't win.
No.
When you're in the officiating tower,
No.
You're always gonna get your, what?
Oh, yeah.
Like
yeah.
You're just gonna get your butt kicked.
I was a race director at a local short track, and there were many weeks that people were very unhappy with me. Yeah, I was very fortunate in that the owner of the track shielded me from a lot of it.
Yeah.
So
man, what do you?
Yeah.
It just sucks, man.
Nobody likes the officials, and the officials are only going to be there when you're only going to notice the officials when they make a call you don't like.
And nobody likes officials in any sport.
No, exactly. No. And I mean, that's the thing too, is like, we sit here and bitch and moan about this, but how many times does this happen on an NFL weekend?
Oh God.
So, I mean, yes, there's a difference because we're driving, huge race cars at 200 miles an hour, but still.
Quoting myself from Sunday, when the Lions were absolutely pounding the Cowboys. Oh, what a great game.
Yeah.
I said, at least this time they played them and they didn't let the refs make the decisions for them.
Yep.
Because of what happened last time they played. So There you go. Every sport, man.
Yeah.
Every sport.
In the end, it's humans that run the sport, and humans make mistakes.
Yep.
Biggest thing is we got to learn from them and fix them. Yep. Fortunately, we don't often see NASCAR make the same mistake again. They're able to find some new ones to make.
Man, yeah.
Thank God this happened on Saturday and not Sunday.
Yeah. I mean, and the hard part is we are, I think I tweeted this out, but we, like, off the track stuff has gotten so ridiculous towards the end of the season. I'm like, man, NASCAR can't wait for the season to get over. Like, it cannot get over fast enough.
I know.
Because if we don't end this season, the sport's going to implode on itself with all this off the track nonsense.
Yeah.
Because we're not talking about the racing. We're talking about what's going on in court, what's going on in the tower.
Right.
It's just enough, man.
Before we leave the Xfinity race, I do want to just, shout out to Parker Kligerman. Hell of a run. I didn't think there was any chance he had to win this thing, and he put himself in position to do it.
Man, they had a good shot at it.
Absolutely incredible. I hope, I don't know the reasoning for Parker quitting full time next season. I know that this team has gone a different direction, but If Parker still wants to do this, I hope somebody comes and knock in because he's a great race car driver. He's a great dude.
It'd be nice to see him win one.
Yeah, and if nothing else, I hope he's in the part-time plan that he's going to have, that he does the pool some money and take it to Joe Gibbs or somewhere like that, or Junior Motorsports or something, and gets a ride part-time that he can go and win a race in, because the guy deserves it. He's a great race car driver. And, definitely shout out Stan Mayer,
absolutely.
With the walk-off, I mean, especially coming off the penalty.
DQ'd last week.
Yeah. I mean, what a way to lock yourself into the next round is to go out and just take it.
Championship hunt is on.
Yeah. Great run for Sam. So congratulations to him on getting the win. That is, by the way, Sam Mayer's 7th victory in 113 NASCAR Xfinity Series starts. Shane Van Gisbergen, also your highest finishing rookie in this one, 3rd place for him.
Eliminated from the playoffs.
Yes, Shane is out. Shane is out.
Yep.
So,
your championship contenders. I don't know if you have that in front of you, Eric.
I don't.
Justin Allgaier, Cole Custer, Austin Hill, Chandler Smith, Sam Mayer, Jesse Love, AJ Allmendinger, and Sammy Smith will continue on.
Freaking Justin Allgaier made it.
I know.
Incredible.
Isn't that great?
Incredible.
He's leading the points.
Yeah, he's having a worse, better season than Denny Hamlin.
Is he doing like the Xfinity version of Larson, where he just like
I said, I think he's doing the Xfinity version of Hamlin.
Yeah, well, he's only got 2 wins this year, so yeah.
When Hamlin and Allgaier win the championship this season.
Going back to Atlanta, listen to this. Going back to Atlanta, 30th, 17th, 30th, 36th, 25th, 7th.
Jeez.
He's your points leader.
That's incredible.
It's ridiculous.
Incredible.
It's ridiculous.
For
Absolutely
all
ridiculous.
those people that say this point system doesn't reward consistency, they're wrong.
Jesus.
Because his consistency throughout the season is what's kept him here.
Yeah.
So.
That's ridiculous. That's just absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, let's bust through some news, James. We got a few news items. We're going to kind of skip through them quick. I don't think we need to spend a ton of time on them.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
We got some news. Jenna Fryer broke it, right?
EP. Yep. Jenna Fryer on the EP. Yep.
NASCAR is aware of allegations a team engineer stole intellectual property and gave it to a rival team. The engineer we've confirmed is from Joe Gibbs, right?
Yeah. And the property was purchased.
Interesting.
Legal, not legally,
right?
Not legally purchased, but yeah, stolen, purchased but stolen.
A lot of question marks as to which team. There are all I'll say is there are people pointing on social media to a comment that Ty Gibbs made after Richmond at Michigan in the media center about RCR suddenly having a lot of speed. And if you were thinking of somebody who might be close to a situation at Joe Gibbs, the grandson might have some knowledge.
The guy with the last name.
Yeah, it could just be somebody pulling some clips out of nowhere. Obviously, a lot of speculation around which teams it could have been.
Well, they did say not a playoff team, so that's a handful of options there. Colleague, Legacy, RCR. So we're gonna. Did they say it was a team that won a race but didn't make the playoffs? That's not. I didn't see that. No. Yeah. Not a playoff team was the quote. So.
There are a lot of fingers pointing a certain direction, but obviously innocent till proven guilty, right, James?
Yeah, we're gonna find out more from this. This is not gonna go away.
Oh yeah.
This is gonna.
I hope this becomes a bigger story than it is right now, because I really feel like it's not much of a story at the moment. And I'm really hoping that this weekend it gets the lid comes off.
Yeah, I hope there's some questions. There's some digging.
I think this is a huge deal. I think this is a really, really big deal. Something like this.
Well, what was it in IndyCar? We had the FBI raid. What is it? Ray Hall Letterman Racing for something like this.
Yep.
Yeah, it's not cool, man.
No,
it's not good.
No.
Not good.
And honestly, it's kind of surprising this type of stuff doesn't happen more often. Maybe it does. It gets swept under the rug and we don't see it.
Yeah.
Props. I mean, I've had my love-hate relationship with Jenna Fryer over the years, or with her reporting. Not Jenna Fryer. I've actually never met Jenna Fryer, but props to her for digging this out. So
Scoops Fryer.
Yeah.
Normally it's Stern or Bianchi, right?
Yeah.
Bianchi bomb.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Or Bob.
Or Bob.
Speaking of Bob's got some info on the 2311 versus NASCAR lawsuit. Dale Jr. had some good comments about it on his podcast today too. That he's kind of feels like people are feeling like they have to pick a side, and that in the end he kind of hopes everybody comes out on the positive end in this, which I know is Junior being Junior, but he's not wrong. I mean, hopefully that it'll end up better for everybody in the long run. But yeah, so do you want to, I haven't really read through a lot of this, James. I know that they filed an injunction. NASCAR's asked for extensions, right?
Yep. NASCAR's got some extensions on it. The other news that came out today was there's some, I guess it's speculation or some words being had that other teams may help financially support 2311. Other car owners. Richard Childress' name was thrown in there.
As far as helping them field a team, you mean, or
no, with the legal fees.
Interesting.
Like helping them pay their
Can
legal.
Can they do that? They signed a contract that says they can't.
I don't know. That's again. This is just a muddy mess until we get through some of this stuff. I do know too. What I was reading that NASCAR reached out to 2311 and said, "Listen, we've made a bunch of concessions for you on this charter agreement, and here they are." So NASCAR is building their case,
right?
But we've got two high-profile lawyers on each side. This is gonna be good. I just don't know if NASCAR wants to get into it or if they want to renegotiate. I don't know.
I feel like there'll be a settlement at some point. I don't think this will go all the way.
And I think
it's just a matter of what settlement is going to make 2311 and Front Row back off. And is it just a matter of making the charters permanent? I mean, I don't disagree with the argument of the permanent charters. I don't want permanent charters because I think the charters are what have created this issue to begin with. Yeah. But if they're spending millions of dollars on these things that could be taken away in 7 years, like they have a right to have some argument there, or at least have a concession that if you take them away, you got to buy them. Yep. I mean, So, and I mean, I guess that maybe
NASCAR want to buy 40.
Right. Can they,
or whatever,
could they afford to buy, if they can afford to buy 36 charters, then obviously
36 charters.
Obviously, they should be giving more money to the drivers or the teams, right?
So NASCAR is going to buy 36 charters at let's just be nice and say $20 million a piece. That's not going to happen.
So I mean, I get it. These guys are investing a lot of money in these charters. So if that's the sticking point and NASCAR could do that, I could see that being a solution. But I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I think we're going into
we're going to learn a lot of stuff, James.
Yeah, we're going to learn a lot. I think we're going towards this is going to be a franchise model, and that's the way it's going to be.
There you go.
I don't know. That's my guess, but again, I'm not Harvard educated in law, so take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, I will never. I can argue, but that's about the extent of my lawyering abilities.
Yeah.
So
I just don't think NASCAR is going to. I have a hard time believing that NASCAR will open their books for everybody to see.
The only way they're going to open their books is if they are in a way worse position than people think they are.
Yeah, they're just not going to do it. There's no way.
There's no way. No, I don't think so. No way. Hailie Deegan's doing the reverse Danica Patrick. Going from NASCAR to IndyCar. She'll run the Indy NXT series next season.
Will we see her in Cup ever?
No, I don't think so.
This is probably it.
I think, I don't know. It feels like a Ricky Carmichael type situation. Ricky ran a shot and didn't work out, and Hailie took a shot and just didn't pick the right places. I thought the AM Racing move was a bad move, and I think everybody who's gotten in that car has kind of proven that it is.
Ford camp, man. There's not a whole lot of, unless you got with Stuart Haas and their Xfinity program, there's not a whole lot of Ford opportunity. So
no, I mean, the thing
Toyota
is
let her go, that was the start of a problem.
The thing is there are a lot of good drivers that are struggling to get rides. And so if you want to progress a career where you're learning as you go, like Hailie Deegan was, I mean, look, she's not as good of a driver as other drivers that have gotten opportunities. She was in a Thor Sport truck and a really good truck and didn't compete with that truck. You can say what you want about her. Does she have the ability to get there? Is she a talented race car driver? Yeah. she just wasn't good enough in NASCAR to cut it, and there wasn't enough opportunity for her to learn to get where she needed to be. It's nothing anybody did wrong. It's just how it worked out. So
I think for her, the higher the downforce, the worse she's been.
Yeah.
Honestly, like she's won, ARCA races on dirt.
Yeah.
So, and I thought she was gonna go open wheel to the dirt side. Like,
Yeah.
I thought she'd have a nice, because when she ran SRX, she was pretty competitive.
yeah.
And I think that was actually some of her best showings, was what she was doing with that series. And those cars had a lot of horsepower. I thought, man, she'd be, she went to High Limit or the World of Outlaws. That's maybe where she could find a home. I don't know if this is going to work out. We'll see.
Yeah, I was going to say more down first, the worse she is. So IndyCar is probably not the right choice, right?
Yeah, that's why I was shocked by it. I was like, I don't know if that's the right move for you. But
so
we'll
not
see.
not high expectations for her over there.
No, I don't. But we'll see her run the Indy 500 someday, I think.
Yeah, could be.
Yep.
I don't have high expectations for her over there either, but I hope she proves me wrong. I like Hailie.
Yep.
She's a good kid, and she's good for the sport, whatever sport she ends up in. So, and hey, she's doing good no matter what. That Deegan name, and that Deegan family,
okay.
she's got her stuff figured out. So go have some fun and see what works out for her. So
yep, absolutely.
NASCAR and IMSA are discussing a future joint event. The only thing I have to say about this, really, James, is I'm shocked that it's taken this long.
Yeah.
I know there were talks of this happening on the Chicago Street Course when they first announced it, and it never happened. I mean, NASCAR owns both. Jim France, does he doesn't still run IMSA too, right? Somebody else does.
Yeah, NASCAR owns IMSA, but
yeah, but I don't think Jim France was heading it before he came over to NASCAR.
I don't know. He's not heading. No.
So obviously there's relationships there for him, so it makes sense on his end. So I can't believe this hasn't happened already, especially with the number of road courses we race at. So
yeah, I thought I saw this on Twitter. I'm sorry, I'm taking somebody else's idea here, but I saw run IMSA at Road America, or run IMSA with the Cup Series at COTA, and send the Truck Series off to a short track somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And that's the way to go. And I thought, man, that's a great idea, because those cars at Circuit of the Americas would be a lot more fun.
Yeah.
Because they don't race there right now, and I'm like, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
and the trucks do something different. I like the idea of trucks on short tracks, period, as it is.
Yeah,
so.
trucks shouldn't be at COTA.
Yeah.
It's just not the right place for them.
Yeah, maybe they'll do it in a couple of years and they can go to Owasso when that's all finished.
Hey, there you go. Hey, there you go. Nice. I like that.
There you go. That's it for news.
Yeah, nothing breaking on the Twitters I see so far.
Good. And you said, I know we didn't include this in notes, we kind of mentioned it beforehand. You said that there were suspensions at Austin Dillon's team.
Richard Childress Racing had a couple crew members suspended. The tire fell off, obviously, during the race.
Not surprising.
For Austin Dillon, so that was...
Knew all that was coming, so not really news. Plus, I mean, no offense to Dillon, but he's not really in the conversation right now, so...
Yep.
There you go. Any checkered flags this week, James?
Man, I saw... Let me see. You know what? I'm going to go... We didn't talk about him. We probably should have just kind of pour one out for his season, but Chase Briscoe obviously got eliminated.
Yeah.
Car had some issues, got involved in some stuff. But shout out Chase Briscoe. He had a heck of a week with his wife, delivering their twins, and then multiple trips to the ER. He's trying to compete for a championship still at this point. So I know it didn't end very well, but it sounds like everybody's doing good. So checkered flag to the Briscoe family. And kudos to the 14 team. They tried, they fought hard, just didn't have enough to keep it going. So, so they bow out of the playoffs, but Chase is going to be okay. He's on to bigger and better things next year, but yeah, shout out to them. Checkered flag.
Good one.
Yeah.
Mine is go check out Dalrymple Clear this week. Lee Diffie and Bob Pockris both on there as guests. Really good show. Very, very good listen. I like Lee. I think the more NASCAR fans can get exposed to Lee's personality, the better. I don't think people realize how big of a fan of motorsports he is and how big of a fan of NASCAR he is.
Yeah.
A lot of talk in the episode talking about, I mean, he's essentially done everything. Every motorsport you can think of. The biggest thing they asked him, what's the one race that you'd like to call? that he hasn't, and his answer immediately, didn't even think about it, Daytona 500.
Yep.
Because that's all he's got. I mean, he's done the Indy 500, he's done Formula One, he's done Bathurst. I mean, he's done everything.
Yep.
But he hasn't done the Daytona 500, and not going to happen for a while unless he goes over to Fox. But
yeah.
But yeah, it was a good listen. Like I said, anytime Lee's on, anytime we get to hear more about Lee, it's good. Bob's a great guest. Obviously, Bob's got a personality that I think people are seeing more recently, but there's still a lot there that you don't necessarily realize is there. So
Bob's just quirky, man.
He's a good dude. I like Bob. Bob a
Lee's
lot.
been doing a great job too. So.
Yeah, and Bob's a hell of a worker at the track, man. And I know I'm doing well at MIS when I beat Bob at the media center, because it doesn't happen very often.
yeah.
If I'm there before Bob in the morning, I know I'm early.
Yep.
How about black flags, James? I don't have any black flags this week because I had too much of a mess coming into this podcast. So maybe I'll think of one while you do
I got a good one.
All right.
And it wasn't in the news, but so the CW. Oh, the CW.
Oh yes. Yeah, you know what? I'm jumping on. I'm gonna take this one with you.
I got two things on the CW.
All
First, the CW looking to have remote broadcasts from
freaking ridiculous.
And I'm like, have you guys not paid attention to how bad Fox has been with the trucks? Come on, what are you guys doing? And then on the Twitters, I keep seeing this.
Oh, no.
The CW on everybody's station, or on everybody's TVs and their channels, says they're showing NASCAR. And they go to tune in to watch NASCAR on the CW. All the local affiliates are airing other things. So all of the CW stuff has already started. It's going to not be very pretty, I don't think.
CW 46 has been good for me, so.
They better tighten up. That's all I have to say. These NASCAR fans don't take too kindly to their broadcasts not being on the screen. So.
On that note, I will say I have had zero issues with CW. I never even had to program something new into YouTube TV. It just automatically recorded. It records every week. No issue. Get the entire race. So
I saw somebody out of Detroit actually on Twitter saying, "Where's my race, guys? I've got it on and it's not here."
Yeah.
So this could get, start of next year, this could get pretty sketchy.
Imagine if it's a Cup Series. It's the Xfinity Series, so it might not create quite as much outrage. But
but if it was the Cup Series, oh my God.
Oh, people lose their minds.
Oh yeah. So keep an eye on CW. Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. NASCAR took the money. Let's make sure that they get the product out there. That's all I have to say.
There you go. NASCAR Cup Series heads to Las Vegas Motor Speedway this weekend. James, we get that 1.5-mile track now. We get 2 of them in a row. Everybody's whining about Charlotte. We got 2 1/2-miles.
Man, I'm looking forward to. I like this round. But Homestead's lurking, but I don't want to look past Vegas because I think Vegas will be good.
Vegas can be a good show. Sunday, South Point 400, 2:30 p.m. on NBC. NASCAR Xfinity Series on Saturday is the Ambetter Health 302, 7:30 p.m. night race for them on the CW as long as CW is airing it, and or at least as long as your local affiliate is. And the Truck Series is off this weekend again. They'll be back next weekend at Homestead. James, you get the first pick. Who you picking for Las Vegas? And do not pick the driver I'm picking.
Well, I was gonna take Kyle Larson, but I'm not going to. I think that might be too easy. Give me the guy with the hot hand who's not quite winning yet, but I think he's due. Give me William Byron.
Byron. Well, William Byron was my backup, but I don't have to go with him because you didn't take the easy one, and I am. Kyle Larson's my pick this weekend.
Yeah. I was gonna take honestly, I was thinking about taking Tyler Reddick, but I can't pick it. Didn't want to pick him 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
Because I picked him for the Roval. I felt really good about it when he won stage 1. I was like, man, that Reddick pick looks like it's gonna be a good one for me.
Right. I was thinking I was gonna have to decide between Byron and Bell. If you picked Larson, so
yeah.
If you'd have seen me over here, if we had our cameras on, as soon as you said I was gonna pick Larson, but that would be too easy, I went yes.
Yeah, I didn't want to take it. I didn't want to take it, but if Byron can make the Final Four, I feel like he's gonna have to get close to getting a win. So, and I still have him in my Final Four, so could be done. But he's got a shot. This and Homestead is a track for Byron. So.
You sound like a robot.
They're good for Larson too. Am I fading?
Can you hear me at all? Because you are like,
yeah.
Oh, now we're good.
I can hear you.
Now we're good. I think I'm gonna leave all that in because it was
Okay,
hilarious. Good. Yeah, James sounded
good.
like a robot. I don't know what he said, but you guys can try to decipher it. You want to repeat what you said?
I just said that Byron's got a nice opportunity in front of him here with Vegas and Homestead. He'll be.
Do you think we don't get through this round with a bunch of non-playoff winners again? Right? I mean, this is the cream's gonna come to the top now.
No, yeah. This is win or go home time.
Yeah, big boys are going to win these ones. I say all three races this round we get a playoff winner.
This is championship time now.
Yep.
We're done messing around. Everybody else had their fun. Now the big boys are coming to play. Coming to finish the season strong.
Yeah. Speaking of finishing the season strong, James, I didn't even look at fantasy. How'd fantasy go this week?
Well, I won.
Oh, nice.
I was very happy about that, but everybody had a good day, it seems like. Barron Speedway was second. Smoking Grill Racing third. Green Eggs and Ham, your points leader, was fifth. Eric, you were fifth.
Oh, nice, not bad.
I'll throw Hot Rod Todd in there. He finished fourth.
I picked way ahead and did not watch the race until late that night.
You tied with Green Eggs and Hamlin, so nice work. Overall standings, so Talladega was not good to me, but I've closed the gap. I am 52 points out of first place. Green Eggs and Hamlin leads. Team Justin is third. Eric, you are 10th.
How many points out of first are you?
52.
13 points a week, James. Can you gain 13 points a week?
I don't know. Talladega is going to come back to haunt me.
Yeah, I think so.
I know.
13 points a week is going to be really tough.
I know.
You better take some swings.
I know. It's going to be tough. I don't know how much Green Eggs and Hamlin has left in the tank, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't slowed down yet, so.
Yeah, I caught him this week, but he got me at Talladega. I was on a good streak. I think I'm still winning and if you look at the playoff bracket. Oh no, Smoking Grill Racing's got me just by a little bit. So it's not. I've only gained in the playoffs. I've only gained 40 total points on Green Eggs and Hamlin. So it's been tight all the way through here. So
yeah, that doesn't bode well for you.
I know, man. It's gonna come down. Part of me hopes that I can at least get within. If I can get within 10 at Phoenix, that would be. I would take that. If you told me, hey, you're within 10, you got a chance. That I'll take it.
Did you send him across the scales this week? Maybe it was light.
Yeah, I should do that. I did claim he was cheating a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Check the weight.
I don't think he liked that.
Check the weight, man.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe hit the turtle. I don't know.
I don't want to make any accusations after I won though. So I'll wait. I'll wait until I have another bad week.
Very good. Yeah. You might want to avoid tech as well. So.
Yep. Exactly.
All right, James. Where can people find you on social media during the week if they want to hit you up?
At James Cush on Twitter.
You can find me at TSuperspeedway on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/TheSuperspeedway. Our website is thesuperspeedway.com. You can find the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Amazon Music, Audible, and iHeartRadio. Wherever you found us this week, subscribe and continue to listen for new episodes each and every week. We are in the round of 8, heading to Las Vegas Motor Speedway this weekend. We'll be back next week to break it down, see who locked themselves in, and preview Homestead. Until then, everybody, let's go racing.